Seeing the likes of Mammuthus steinkaput alongside dinosaurs is still strange. This behemoth towers over many creatures on the island and doesn't seem to fear anything but the Tyrannosaurus. I've seen them stomp would-be predators out of their way. Mammoths can grab and throw things with their powerful trunks and manage a fearsome trumpeting roar with them as well. At first, I wondered how herds of mammoths were able to find enough plant life to graze on, but then I saw them sweeping up thatch and foliage with their tusks and stomping branches out of trees. Mammoths generally thrive in colder areas and have a herd mentality. They must spend much of their time traveling between the mountain's cold summit and more lush base, and maybe their herds are the reason why the summits are so barren. Mammuthus steinkaput is a difficult beast to domesticate, not because they are inherently stubborn, but because knocking one out to begin the taming process takes great effort. Once tamed, however, mammoths are one of the only creatures on the island that can uproot trees without shattering them, and their trunks are strong enough to lift and carry survivors and other smaller creatures. Lately, survivors have been saddling up their mammoths to ride in tandem. The more clever riders have even been outfitting their mammoth saddles with war drums. It turns out that drum solos from mammothback can really boost your tribe mate's spirits. Mesopithecus amicifer is an omnivorous monkey species, primarily inhabiting the island's jungles. It is smaller than a human, but can scurry about the same speed. It does not appear to be aggressive, unlike its relative, the Gigantopithecus, but is rather very shy towards humans, likely due to their much larger size and lack of hairy exterior. Due to their skittish nature, they can be difficult to tame. They can be hand-fed if you are patient, but stick too close to them for too long, and they'll get spooked and run away. A common pet, Mesopithecus, is very easy to keep fed. It will eat nearly any fruit harvested on the island. Mesopithecus is most often used as a social companion, as it cannot carry enough to be a beast of burden, is not large enough to be ridden, and is not particularly good for combat. It is, however, quite effective at vocally warning of incoming intruders and pelting them with copious amounts of tossed fecal matter. Nomadic tribes have also managed to teach Mesopithecus to open locked doors when pillaging. Lording over the skies across the island, Argentavis atricolum has few aerial rivals. It is a small consolation for the island's other avian creatures, then, that Argentavis seems to have little interest in anything alive. Argentavis is actually slower than the island's far more common pteranodon, but it possesses significantly more stamina and can sustain flight for approximately 3 times as long. Its weighty stature, in comparison to the pteranodon, allows it to utilize its talons to support the weight of an additional passenger. Considering its saddle doubles as a mobile crafting station, it makes Argentavis an excellent creature for traveling and hauling cargo over long distances. Quite apart from what I would have guessed, Argentavis does not have the stooped neck typical of modern buzzards and vultures. I don't know if it adapted this stronger neck to deal with the predators on the island, or if its lineage derives from before the stoop neck became common in carrion-eating birds. Whichever it meant to be, it has enabled Argentavis to carry smaller creatures with its beak. One of the smallest predators on the island, Compsognathus curiosicaris, can be seen as a pet, a pest, or a threat. While alone, Compsognathus is not dangerous or aggressive. In larger packs, however, it remembers its underlying carnivorous nature. After a group of Compsognathus grows to a certain size, their pack mentality always seems to embolden them to attack. For some reason, Compsognathus is not naturally afraid of humans. Rather, it seems to be quite curious about humans and their instruments of survival. They tend to be drawn towards humans out of this curiosity, and then call their packmates to help explore their discovery. This usually leads to aforementioned pack aggression, with dangerous results. Compsognathus gain increasingly significant attack power and speed when in close proximity to other Compsognathus, as their pack aggression takes over their behavior. Additionally, their distress call carries quite far, rapidly alerting the tribe and its pets to danger more efficiently, and increasing the likelihood of forming a so-called compy gang. Rhaphis replicare, more commonly known as the dodo bird, is quite possibly the dumbest creature I've ever seen in my life. It wanders around the beaches of the island, pecking berries off bushes and being eaten by all manner of carnivore. Without the dodo, the whole island's food chain would disintegrate. This subspecies of the dodo has developed an unbelievably clever way to sustain itself. They mate constantly. I'm fairly convinced that they reach full maturity within a week of being born. This is the only trait keeping them populous on the island. While it can be done, there is almost no reason to domesticate a Rhaphis replicare. It cannot carry enough to be a beast of burden, it does not provide much food, and it's too stupid to show companionship. It could work as a last-ditch food source though, so I suppose keeping some around for lean times has a certain logic. Smilodon brutalis is a solitary hunter, generally found in cold, lightly wooded areas. The island's mountains are the perfect habitat, as the mammal's fur keeps it safe from the bitter temperature. While its huge fangs are excellent for delivering death blows, the creature's claws can be just as deadly. Despite normally being a solitary creature, Smilodon brutalis are not opposed to hunting in small packs. In fact, they have to do this to take down larger prey, such as mammoths. Enough saber-tooths can take down a Carnotaurus, perhaps even a Tyrannosaurus. Either way, Smilodon brutalis should not be underestimated. While not as fast as raptors, there's no denying the saber-tooth's increased resilience and power. In addition, well-trained saber-tooth can be taught to use their claws to flay corpses. This may sound morbid, but it is among the best ways to quickly gather large quantities of hide from the giant beasts of the island. Coelacanth nutritia is one of the few creatures on the island with a relative which can be found back home. The coelacanth thrive in the waters around the island, as well as within rivers and lakes. Unlike most coelacanths, Coelacanth nutritia meat contains less oil and urea. In fact, it is one of the healthier sources of meat I've yet found. Most coelacanths are opportunistic feeders that eat anything smaller than itself, likely including baby water snakes, insect and plant life, and perhaps each other. While their limited intelligence makes them unsuitable for taming, coelacanths provide a viable source of meat for coastal or water-dwelling tribes. Many a day has been spent fishing by the water's edge, often with surprising results, as coelacanths often have consumed discarded garbage that is sometimes of great value. Due to their small size, though, a larger tribe would require a significant number of coelacanths to feed itself. Unlike many of the herd animals on the island, Ankylosaurus crassicutus tends to live in small family units. I believe they can afford to stick with smaller groups because of their incredibly thick skin, for which they're named. Despite not being among the largest of the island's herbivores, Ankylosaurus is one of the more difficult creatures to take down. Its thick, armoured skin seems to make it more than a match for several of the mid-sized predators that would otherwise hunt it. Reckless carnivores are just as likely to hurt themselves on Ankylosaurus spikes as they are to get hit by its tail. Without a doubt, the best trait of a trained Ankylosaurus is its enormously dense tail. This tail is powerful enough to quickly shatter the resource-laden rocks of the island. One of the wealthier human tribes on the island utilizes a squad of ankylosaurs in its mines and quarries. The creature's affinity for metal enables it to carry raw ore at an effectively reduced weight.